Thank you for joining us and welcome to this Markets.com country profile on Canada. I'm your host, Armando Gutierrez Jr. Canada has a population of over 33 million people, with its currency, the Canadian dollar, also famously called the loonies. Now let's take a look at Canada's economy. Canada is a highly industrialized and advanced producer in the transportation, metal, chemicals, and lumber industries, with a current account balance of $14.5 billion, with imports of $386 billion and exports of $433 billion. Canada's major exports include transportation products, machinery, metals, chemicals, telecommunication products, petroleum industries, and really bad movies like The Big Lebowski. Imports include machinery, equipment, motor vehicles, parts, oil, and consumer goods. Looking at Canada's GDP, real GDP growth in 2007 was 2.7%, with a GDP of $1.4 trillion in nominal terms and $1.2 trillion based on purchasing power parity. When examined per capita, Canada's GDP based on purchasing power parity came in at just over $38,400. As for unemployment, Canada is currently 6.1% unemployed and facing an inflation of 2.2%. Now let's take a look at cash flow. Foreign direct investment inflows were $527 billion and outflows amounted to 514 billion loonies. Canada's markets include the Canadian Premier Exchange, also known as the Toronto Stock Exchange. Located in Toronto, the TSX main indexes are the S&P and the TSX Composite Index and the TSX Venture Composite Index. The total exchange-wide market value of publicly traded shares is just over $1.7 trillion. Now let's take a look at Canada's political structure. The country is a constitutional monarchy that also functions as a parliamentary democracy and a federation. The nation is overseen by Chief of State and Governor General Michel Jean, alongside Chief Executive Prime Minister Stephen Harper. Canada's main political forces are the Quebec Separatists, Conservative Liberals, sounds a little bit awkward, Greens, and the New Democrats, kind of like the United States. For the judicial side of the branch, Canada's legal system is based on English common law, except in Quebec, where civil law system is based on French law. On to taxes. The corporate tax rate is 21%, with the provinces adding a corporate tax rate between 10 and 16%. They also charge sales tax and have some capital taxes. Canada has the highest marginal effective tax rate on capital, according to the OECD. Now let's take a look at Canada's top 5 big businesses, listed in ranking by market cap. First, we have the Royal Bank of Canada. With a market cap of $64 billion, the Royal Bank is engaged in the banking and financial services industry. Next is Manulife Financial with a market cap of $49 billion. Manulife is the largest Canadian insurance industrial company. Next is Research in Motion with a market cap of $58 billion and is a wireless telecommunication giant, maker of the Crackberry, Blackberry, and Blueberries. Next we have Encana. Sounds like a sugar company. Encana is one of the largest oil and gas companies in the world with a market cap of $57 billion. Our last big business is Potash. Our founders actually are very fond of potash. With a market cap of $50 billion, Potash Corporation is the world's largest producer of, guess what? Potash. Looking to the future, expect GDP to grow at a slow 1% rate in 2008 and a 1.9% in 2009, at the heels of a U.S. slowdown and a strong CAD. As inflation rose to 2.2% in May, expect no further changes in monetary policy for the immediate time to come. Expect overall inflation for the period to edge up to 1.9%. Given the strong Canadian dollar and its loonies, strong oil prices, expect the exchange rate to come up to 1.08 per US dollar. Canada projected a first quarter current account deficit but posted surpluses. Thank you for joining us for this Markets.com country profile on Canada. I'm your host, Armando Gutierrez Jr. I hope you had a good time.